Hola, amigo. Hola, amigo. Welcome to episode 96 of the Middle-Aged Outlaws podcast. Episode 96, we're nearly hitting it. Nearly hit the ton.
Nearly there.
Yeah, Adam, nothing's happening in professional wrestling these days. So
No, I think everyone just needs to watch Lucha Underground.
I agree. Yeah. Let's just get right into it. I think that, I don't know about you, but we're at episodes 13 to 16 this week of season 1. Don't know about you, but I feel like it's just decided. I feel like it's hit its stride. I feel like it's realised what it is. It's remembered that Robert Rodriguez is executive producing it.
Yeah.
And went, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go for it. Let's go balls to the wall. B-movie mixed with wrestling. And I have to say, these are the 4 episodes I've enjoyed the most out of the episodes we've watched to date. Nice. How about you? Do you get where I'm coming from with the whole? Like, it just feels like it's ramped up a wee bit.
I feel like to me, so much of the earlier episodes, I think in particular before they had the Aztec warfare, it felt like there was a lot of scene setting and character building development that was going on. And then it has kind of said, okay, you generally know the people we've got now, and here's just a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be going on. And it's just ramped up quite nicely.
And I feel like we've got a bit more cinematic stuff going on.
Yeah.
I wonder if the problem is when that tips on the other side and we're sitting here in 10 episodes going, oh, so we got one wrestling match and a guy got buried in the desert. We'll
it's
see.
A fine line.
It is.
Yeah.
We'll jump straight into it.
Let's go.
Episode 13 was called Johnny Mundo versus the Machine, and I think I'd said the last time that I'd really like to see Cage and Johnny Mundo, so this was a helpfully named episode to be going into.
Yeah.
We started straight off in the ring with our boy, Son of Havoc. Are we adopting Son of Havoc as our boy? El Hijo del Havoc?
I feel like I mentioned this before. Like, all of a sudden he's doing all these cool moves and stuff, which it felt like he wasn't necessarily doing right at the start of his run.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I suppose they'll touch on it here. Is he a bit of a loser?
Oh, he's grown up on the open road. He's made his way to the temple. I mean, surely that is enough to suggest a winner. And he's got Evilise with him.
Yeah, but listen to what she's about to say.
At the moment. So Evilise grabs the mic. She said she's tired of reading tweets that say Havoc sucks. Her boyfriend sucks. I don't date losers, and if anyone has a problem with him, you have a problem with me too. The baddest bitch in this building. She's really looking to trademark that.
Yep.
So Son of Havoc, I looked him up actually. After this one, he was on season 2 of Tough Enough. I think season 2. Was there a season 2?
I think so.
But it didn't make it very far. Maybe it was in the first season and only made it to round 2. Maybe that's where I'm getting the second part of it. Really, really poor way to treat. I'm sure he wasn't dressed in an executioner's mask.
That's what was missing.
There you go. And Evilise. The baddest bitch in the building. So Son of Havoc is taking on Angelico, who I think they've even said he looks like a BMXer to me. Big, tall, South African gentleman with a lot of high-flying stuff going on with him.
Yeah.
He likes his knees. Does Angelico, he kicks in his knees.
He does.
We've set it up with Evilise saying she doesn't date losers, and Angelico obviously fancies himself a wee slice of Evilise.
He does, yeah. I was struck. It was funny because I think you'd maybe mentioned it a couple of weeks ago or a couple of episodes ago, where I think Angelico came out in this like sort of we're going to just introduce these new characters, and he was just one of them. And I was kind of struck by how tall he was, because he's a tall guy. And then the announcers, quite early on in this, seemed to get absolutely obsessed with how tall Angelico was. They wouldn't shut up about it.
It does look really, and you don't know if it's if Son of Havoc is relative. I don't think he is, though. He doesn't look it.
Nah.
Do you like that thing that Son of Havoc does, where he sort of does like a fake out, like he's going to dive out the ropes? But how would you describe that? Like a bullhorn with his hands.
Yeah. I thought it looked really cool, and I don't know how to describe it, and I think I say that somewhere in my notes. I don't really know how to say what this guy just did, but I like it, and he's done it before, I'm sure.
Yeah, he has, yeah. It's like his thing. It's like his Ric Flair flop.
Yeah.
The whole sort of set piece of this match is around Ivelisse and Havoc possibly bumping into her, but no, and Angelico almost bumping into her and trying to steal a kiss from her. We eventually end up with the finish, with Havoc, Son of Havoc, going into Ivelisse and hitting her right in the midsection, knocking her off the apron. Angelico rolls him up and gets the win. And Ivelisse is not happy with her man.
She is not. I'm fearing that Son of Havoc is being overshadowed a little bit here.
Call him Son of Mark Merrow?
Just because I very much see similarities with the Sable story.
Oh, right, okay. Brilliant. Yeah, she's not too happy, and we'll see where that goes. But he tries to apologise and all that, and I think she's a fiery character.
Yes, she is. Yeah. Yep.
She's not going to just accept it straight off the bat. We go into the place that's quickly becoming my favourite, backstage segment, but my favourite place for us to get these encounters, which is Dario Cueto's office. He is really just sleazing it up with Johnny Mundo.
Yes.
Hey, Johnny. When Johnny Mundo's around, we always get 5-star main events, which is why you'll be in my main event tonight. Love it.
I was just imagining, like, how often do you think in the old territory days you did get like a booker that would piece me? I bet it happened all the time. He's saying to the rest of his talent, "Oh, we're bringing in this guy. He's washed up. He's a piece of shit. He's just in it for himself." Hello, great to meet you.
Brilliant. Johnny Mundo, he says you'll be in the main event tonight against Cage. And Mundo says, "You mean that ham bone who tore apart your title belt?" I need to look up the definition of ham bone.
It felt a bit Bobby Heenan to me, use of a word like that.
Nice. Cueto looks a bit glum, and he says, Mundo says you better get a new one. So yeah, we move into a Pentagon hype video, and I think that's going to be a bit of a theme across these episodes, is that we're getting a bit of an angle for Pentagon. But we get one of these hype videos that we've seen before, but I felt this had a bit more purpose, showing him mixing different martial arts with the Lucha Libre stuff, showing the sort of Japanese influence and all that sort of stuff. So that was cool. Which takes us into a Pentagon match. He is facing your favourite, Famous B.
Famous B.
This is very much a squash match, and supposed to be that. Did you know the funny thing about this is they're definitely pushing Pentagon down this dark heel alley, but the fans love shouting Zero Miedo at him. And they like him. He looks cool.
He does, yeah. But I like this because, like with the video package just before it, and then in this squash match fairly quickly. I mean, they've gone for he is looking like he's got a mean streak now.
Yeah.
And it's a Kimura he puts on Famous B, and I thought this is all tying in to what you gave me before. I like this. This makes sense. But I didn't quite expect it to go where they took it here.
Well, it's so dark. He beats the shit out of him. After he hits him with this package pile driver, and then he breaks his arm.
Yeah, breaks his arm.
Was it before the bell? It wasn't like he won and then broke his arm. I think he did it to win, did he?
Yeah, I think he got the win, but whether I can't think on this one whether he just didn't release it and kept it held
and then
until it broke.
Sort of did it. Aye.
Yeah.
He grabs the mic and he says, "I pledge my loyalty to you, Master. I am ready."
Yeah.
I'll go into my thesis on whose master is. We'll do it at the next one, but his next match, because I think he has two of these in quick succession. Yeah. Okay, we're back with Dario Cueto. He is sitting fingering his key. And he's talking to someone in the shadows. Now, we've theorised before about what this key was for. Mm-hmm. He does appear to have somebody in a cage of some description.
It's not Cage, though.
No.
Because he's a machine.
He's a machine. It even says it in his music, so you know he's a machine.
Yeah.
He tells whoever this is, you don't see this person, they're off camera.
No. Yeah.
He tells this person about this woman who keeps coming to the temple. She calls herself the Black Lotus. And do they reference the person in the cage knowing her when she was a little girl? You should see her now, he says. He's such a sleazy bastard.
It didn't come across great, that.
I could have given her this key and let her come for her revenge, but I'm not a fool. I have to protect this temple from Matanza. He said that before, hasn't he? No, that was she was looking for Matanza.
She that's where Matanza's name came up. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see. I like this though. This is our From Dusk Till Dawn plot line that we've got going
like
on.
It.
Is Matanza a vampire? Maybe. Okay, so we go back to the ring with my least favourite luchador, Drago, taking on Aerostar, who was the red and blue one.
Yeah, I think so.
The quite cool one. What was Argenis was the other one.
Yeah.
They were sort of introduced at the same time, weren't they?
Yeah.
This was just quite a straightforward, back and forward, high-flying exhibition, really. This one didn't really have much of a link to storyline or anything like that.
Not really, no. I was thinking, in terms of storylines, obviously they'd had Drago aligned with facing off against King Cuerno several times, the point where we had more than enough of it. And I thought, at least when I saw this, I thought, okay, they've moved him on. We're done with that. There were hints that King Cuerno had moved on anyway to something else, but yeah, we'll I think it's confirmed here. It almost feels like, I don't mean this as disrespectful to Aerostar. I feel like Drago's now just pushed a wee bit down the card, just where he belongs.
Nice, that's fair. We're going for a kind of I respect you and you respect me sort of thing going on here, where they're both really impressive luchadors and they're congratulate each other after the match and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, in the back, Phoenix is hitting the heavy bag, and he is approached from behind by Katarina. What do you hold on, I'll go through this and then I'll ask you. She does her whole mystical touch him on the back and then disappears, he turns around and all that, and she starts sort of caressing his chest. He's got what do you call one of those things that he's got on his chest? It's like a round thing with like a feather. Is it a dream catcher?
Oh, what's that? Okay.
I think that's what it was. Anyway, she's asking, does this... What is it? I've got it written down.
Okay.
What is this? Why do you have this on your chest? Does it protect you from the nightmares? She's doing all this sort of seductive, cryptic chat. She says, I have a message for you, but it's not from Mil Muertes, it's from me, and she gives him a big kiss. Keep this between us, because if he was to find out, he would bury both of us alive. Like, you're in the back banging on a fucking heavy bag, and this happens to you, poor Phoenix.
Poor Phoenix. What about Mil? Has he not been through enough?
It's bad enough he has to wrestle these jammies.
He felt so close to winning the championship, and then he's lost everything.
Why is she doing this?
She's
She's a smart woman. I don't think she must be doing it for gain of some description. Absolutely scandalous behaviour.
I'm starting to think we can't fully trust her.
Calm down there, cowboy. Let's not jump to conclusions.
Okay. Sorry, Katerina. Sorry.
It just didn't seem like Phoenix was that into it. But I think he's maybe just taken aback a little bit.
I mean, it would be quite surprising. You know, you're just going about your day, and yeah.
Well, we'll see how that pans out. Our main event is Johnny Mundo and Cage. I love that Cage comes in to the temple with this torn title draped around his neck.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. I hoped that this would be a good match. I wanted to see them together, and they were class together.
This was really good.
I feel like Johnny Mundo's just like you know what Cueto said to him, every time we have Johnny Mundo in the main event, we get 5 stars. He is so good, though, eh?
Yeah, he is. And this, is this maybe the best one-on-one match we've had so far? I think it probably is. Yeah, and their styles mesh really well together. Because Johnny Mundo is a good mover, he's a good, he takes good bumps, he's a good seller, and obviously Cage can move, but he's got all the power and strength about him. Quite impressed with Cage. I wasn't really sure what to expect in terms of in-ring, but this was good. Really
good. And the thing about Johnny Mundo is you don't realise he's a really big guy, and Cage is... We've been sold Cage as a machine, but we're sold him as this big guy. But really, he's quite. Is he quite stocky? Is he quite not small?
Yeah, but not the tallest, I don't think.
Aye.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a really good match. The sort of wrinkle to the whole thing is that King Cuerno is skulking about in the sort of corners of the temple, which I think you and I have quite liked when he was doing this with Drago as well, but then it's sort of like they just sort of rammed it down our throat a wee bit, but I liked this. The whole stuff, he's obviously set his sights on one of these two and started to stalk them. A real highlight for me, I love to see a big man do a tilt-a-whirl. Cage hits a 9 out of 10 on the crushometer for me.
Nice.
He also does this pretty cool looking moonsault type thing where he starts on the second buckle facing towards him, spins round, jumps up. He misses it. But it's really cool, and you know what you expect from this rhino type man that we've been sold before.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of back and forth. Things start looking like they're going to be going towards the finish when Cuerno prowls down and eventually attacks Johnny Mundo on the apron, and a DQ gets called. Cage sort of, it almost seems like it's out of character for him, but he sort of sees what's going on and is just like, nah, fuck this, and just like starts walking up the stairs. Because Cuerno's going off, he rattles his leg around the ring, Mundo's leg around the ring post. So Dario comes out of his office. I still love the fact that he comes out of his office. He's clearly just sitting watching through his window. I want a full episode from the point of view of him and sitting at his desk and just making little sleazy remarks. You know, like, what was it they used to do on Sky Sports? Was it like the fan? Remember they used to do like a fan commentary? A fan zone, aye.
Fan zone, yeah.
That's what we need. We need a Cueto zone commentary. He says, Johnny, now that you and I are friends again, I'm not going to let your 5-star match end like that. Not in my tempo, so we'll restart the match. This is music to Cage's ears. He tears away back down the stairs and beats the shit out of Mundo.
Beats the shit out of him. There's a horrible looking like, I don't know what you would call it, but it just looked like it would hurt. A submission he puts on Johnny's leg.
Aye,
He's got
when
it like
it's
wrapped around
got
his...
drap.
Yeah,
Aye, that's
yeah,
unbelievable. Is that how he won? Did Johnny?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because he's already obviously had his leg assaulted by Cuerno.
Oh, no, it's actually... No, it's... he gets out of that because he has a wee comeback. He does some head kicks and then he just won't quit. Like he won't stay down. He keeps getting up, and then I think he gets an absolutely brutal clothesline, and then gets himself face planted into the mat, and that's it. I think.
Yeah, he's got like a sort of thing where he plants his face downward, doesn't he? His finishing move. Big win for Cage.
Mm-hmm.
He's had that title shot, which didn't go his way.
Yeah.
How did that finish? Do you remember?
Was that? I don't think it was a... How did that finish?
I don't feel like it finished properly. Oh no, Cage bounced the ref off the ropes, remember, and he got DQ'd.
Right. Yeah, he got DQ'd.
So he's not been defeated. You know, he's not been pinned or anything like that. So we're keeping him nice and strong. Okay, post-credit scene. Is it?
Yep.
We get Dario in his office. He is talking to someone on the phone about this Black Lotus lady. He gets a knock on his door. He says, "Go home, the show's over." And we get Alberto, El Patron, popping his head through the door. And he says, "My name is Alberto, El Patron, but you already knew that," and winks, and Cueto looks pretty happy.
He does.
To see him.
Yeah.
And I was too.
Yeah.
Good episode. What was your likes and dislikes from that one?
I think the main like was I just really enjoyed the main event match. I thought it was really good. In terms of dislikes, I like what they're doing with Pentagon Jr. as well. Mm-hmm. I feel like they've given him a bit more. You kind of see some of the other luchadors there's not a whole lot of character developing there. They're just getting in the ring and doing their thing. It feels like he's got a bit more going on, which is good. I didn't really have many dislikes. I'm feeling sorry for Mil Muertes. I don't know what's going on with Katarina. Poor Son of Havoc. It's not really going his way, but I enjoyed the episode. Thought it was really good.
Nice. Okay, let's go into 14 then. A shot of El Patron. Okay, so we basically pick up immediately from that last closing segment where somebody has told Dario to, listen, the acting's been good, but let's style it up. Let's go bonkers with it. So Dario's with Alberto El Patron in his office. He says, I've always admired you, your suits, your cars, I like it. Alberto says, I like your key, what does it unlock? Cueto's just like trying to put it behind his shirt and stuff like that. It's great. Basically, Alberto El Patron asks for the opportunity to address the temple. Cueto says that this is a fighting temple, and it's a temple for combat, I think he says. But they basically come to an agreement that you do this for me, and maybe I can do something for you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's basically the scene, but it's just all Cueto's acting is amazing.
Nice.
I think that we end up with Alberto saying, the next time I come to your office to ask you for anything, it will be for blood. Which I like. Okay. Into the ring we go with Melissa Santos. It's Argenis taking on Phoenix. I'm glad that they've done this stuff with Phoenix because I don't enjoy his matches at all.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's overly harsh, but I've just taken a dislike into him.
Oh. Is he the new Drago in your mind?
Perhaps. But this one is all about this one's all about moving forward the whole Muertes Katarina Phoenix thing, because lo and behold, Katarina makes her appearance. She comes down to the ring, and she's put Phoenix in a bit of a bind last week, but it was behind closed doors. Now we're out in the open for everyone to see. Why is she there?
Yeah, true. I mean, you've got to think Mill is gonna see this.
Can you imagine him just sitting watching telly though?
Just skipping through the channels, thinking, I'll just watch a bit of this Argenis Phoenix match. Why not? You know,
sitting rubbing his wee stones, thinking about death.
And then he's like,
What's Mum?
I thought she was sitting next to me.
She does disappear every now and again, that's the thing. So Matt Stryker says that he thinks that Katarina may be a bit of a pervert. She's getting turned on by the action, and Vampiro says, "I am, brother."
Yeah, there's a few close to becoming Jerry Lawler moments.
I think we have Phoenix hitting a sort of sit-down tombstone, almost like what Owen Hart gave Austin when he broke his neck, isn't it?
Yeah.
And with the win for Phoenix, Katarina enters the ring and slithers over Argenis and gives him the lick. Phoenix kind of hightails his way out of there.
But she's staring at Phoenix while she does it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done the right thing by leaving, I think.
Yeah.
Signalling to Muertes that he's no interested.
Yeah, this is one-sided, bro. This wasn't. I didn't.
She
I
came
didn't
at me.
Instigate this. Yeah. You know, your beef was with your lady. Just sort it out yourselves.
Absolutely. Talking of which, it's exactly what happens next. We have Mil Muertes and Katarina in the sort of temple training room, and she starts trying to give him her seductive, cryptic chat about 1,000 deaths and all that sort of stuff, and he's having none of it. He grabs her by the throat. I don't know why I'm laughing. Grabs her by the throat, and the camera pans down, and we just see her feet like lifted, a couple of feet in the air. He tells her he needs nothing. Is this the first time we've heard him talk?
I think so, yeah.
He tells her he needs nothing, and he storms off. And he storms off down a corridor. And poor Chavo, who, he's just wandering about cheating, lying and stealing, he bumps right into him, and they kind of stop, and I actually wasn't sure what was going to happen. It's that kind of way, in Pulp Fiction when he's got the Pop-Tarts in, and is it John Travolta's character comes and they end up, the Pop-Tarts pop and they shoot each other, and they shoot.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that. They just sort of look at each other, and then Meal absolutely destroys poor Chavo.
Yeah. That's just the wrong place at the wrong time for Chavo.
100%. I think Meal tells him, next week you pay your debt.
Yeah.
Chavo looks taken aback.
Yeah. If I'm Chavo, I'm saying, hey, listen, shouldn't you be focused on Phoenix? I mean, just leave me out of this.
It does seem like the sort of thing that Chavo would say as well. Sort of slither his way out. We're going full cinematic this episode. We go to another awesome cinematic segment, which made me feel like I was watching Sin City or something. Now we've got clearly a silhouette of the world's largest man, Big Ryck, in a confessions booth. He says, forgive me, Father, for I'm about to sin. I'm going to destroy 3 Judases who betrayed me. This is good stuff, by the way. He says, I promise you these hands won't shed innocent blood. It's time for Big Ryck to go Old Testament. Yeah. Yes!
Yeah. Nice.
I don't think we ever see... Do we see the priest? I don't think we do we?
No, I don't think so.
Bless you, my child. Go in peace. And Rick flicks his lighter, fires up his cigar, and as he leans forward, we see that he's got an eye patch on, which adds to his badassery.
Yeah.
And this was cool as well, eh?
Oh, yeah, enjoyed that.
Johnny Mundo getting kicked down the card, taking on Son of Havoc now.
Yeah.
In the ring. Again, Johnny Mundo must be held together by bits of tape at this point.
He does quite a lot of selling in this match. He is
does.
selling the leg big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it, Son of Havoc grabs the mic and dedicates his win to Evilise.
Yeah.
Bit presumptuous.
Yeah, I was looking, thinking, Son of Havoc, you've barely won a match. And this is you getting the opportunity. I think they say something like finally getting to face somebody on his level or something like that. And then, like, bringing out one of the main stars of this organisation. I just don't think this is going to go the way you're hoping.
It's an alright match. It's a lot of Mundo selling, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
He's selling the leg from last week. Eventually we get to the crux of what this match is here for, and we get King Cuerno coming run down and just, we've used this phrase quite a lot already, but he just beats the shit out of to Johnny Mundo. He hits the Thrill of the Hunt on him. And that's us.
Yeah.
Is that a DQ, or does Son of Havoc win the match?
Johnny Mundo won with the end of the world, and then Cuerno came in straight after.
Right. Was it in this match, or was it in the cage match? He goes to hit the end of the world, and whoever it is moves, and he lands on his feet. Must have been the cage match, eh?
It might have been the cage match. Yeah.
It's absolutely class. I've never seen anything like it. Okay, we get another Pentagon showcase. He's facing Ricky Mandel. He gets a little bit of offense in, but there's a point in this match where Mandel sort of starts making a bit of a comeback, and he's diving through the air, and Penta just so disrespectfully drop kicks him in the air.
Yeah.
It's like a get to fuck sort of thing.
I really like this Pentagon Junior here. Like what he's turned into the last couple of episodes. I really like this.
Same. It's good. He's got it one. He gets the pin, but he pulls him up after the two because he's not quite finished with them yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he does exactly what he did to Famous B and breaks his arm, snaps his arm. Yeah. And he tells us again, today I've given another sacrifice for you, Master. Let's talk about, I think before you previously said Remus, he's talked about Master before, but this is it's ramped up now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You thought maybe Ray?
Yeah, I think he's gone too heelish now for that to be
an interesting way to introduce Rey Mysterio. I can't remember who I previously thought it might be. Dario Cueto, I think I maybe said.
Okay.
Right, I'll tell you. I know I've told you my theory, but I'll tell you again. I need to bring it up now. I can't remember exactly what I said. But basically, they've shown us that he's open to doing things outside of the Lucha Libre box with the whole martial arts stuff. And peppered throughout these episodes, we've had Matt Striker talking about the history of Lucha Libre. He talks about pretty much most matches. He tells you something about the background of one of the wrestlers wrestling. And Conan says, "You are my teacher. I always refer to you as my teacher." And I thought it was quite curious, that use of language. So I'm putting two together. I'm probably getting 7 to 8, but I think with the working outside the Lucha Libre box, like so adopting an American as a master, and given the Lucha Libre history and all that sort of stuff that Matt Striker seems to have, then I think I'm going that Striker is the master.
Nice.
But does that the result? Does he even wrestle Matt Striker? I know he did.
Yeah, he did a long time ago. But yeah, I don't really know what way I think this is going to go. I mentioned to you that I think at some point they're going to utilize having Vampiro there, and he will become like a mentor to someone. But I don't think that would be here and now. It makes a lot of sense to me, obviously, with how established he is within the organisation, that they sort of take advantage of that at a point.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced it would be here and now and in this way. I don't really know. Who else I think it could be?
It's funny. Like, remember when we watched that Vampiro documentary? Like, he could barely walk, could he not?
Yeah.
So you just wonder. I think, I don't know. I think I've always ruled that out because of that it looked like he was absolutely buggered.
Yeah, because I think...
What if it's Jeff Jarrett?
Oh my God. What year was this?
20, I think this is 2015 we're in.
Oh no, Jeff's still out of it. Yeah, he's going to be a terrible mentor.
So there's a good chance. Maybe this might be around about the time when he was throwing nachos into the crowd in Mexico.
If at some point soon Pentagon Jr. gives somebody a guitar necklace, then we know.
Right, okay. Well, there will be signs. It's interesting. It could be somebody completely new.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like but nah. I'm talking myself out the striker thing. It's too hammy, I think.
Yeah. I will see. I wonder how long it'll play out for.
Yeah. Do you think he's just going to break it? Well, to be fair, I don't think he actually has another. In the next 2 episodes, I don't think he has another arm breaker, does he?
I don't think so.
Okay, we get Alberto El Patron in the ring. This is kind of our main event. And this is, we're sort of veering towards more traditional pro wrestling promo type stuff here. I was a little bit concerned we were going into shoot territory and slagging off WWE and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would have cheapened it.
Yeah. It, for a few sentences he used, it felt like he was on the brink of really going fully in that direction. But it never quite got. I think there was maybe a point where he indicated that with it, did he name them? I don't think he named them, that they were racist. And I was thinking,
I think he did as well.
Okay.
He talks about the colour of your skin, they stab you in the back, and all that sort of stuff. But generally, I thought it was a good promo. He's very jovial, and like he's just like I don't really know Alberto Del Rio El Patron very well at all.
Right.
What was his promo style, and what was it like? Foreign, like this guy is a foreigner type thing.
A little bit. Yeah, it was kind of the, I think it was initially sort of I'm here to prove I'm the best in the world. You don't know me, but you will, that kind of thing. And then it went a little bit into the sort of a bit too like cartoony in that sense, leaning into the sort of heritage and things like that. And he does speak a little bit here about culture and heritage, but more in a this is where I belong and things like that. And I'm is he AAA champion? Is that what he's got?
AAA champion, yep.
AAA champion. And he's talking about that. Whereas it just went a little bit more cartoonish in WWE.
Well, which is what you sort of expect. Yeah. I think I don't know if he mentions it here, but I didn't know his uncle was Mil Mascaras.
Right, okay. I don't think he mentions it here. He had good matches. I remember that in WWE. Like, he was a good worker. And quite often, quite near the top of the card. They never really went with him as being, like, the guy. But I think he was pretty highly thought of in terms of his ability in the ring.
He won that. The only thing I could probably tell you about him is he won that 40-man Royal Rumble, didn't he? Was that a Saudi one?
Okay, yeah.
The greatest ever Royal Rumble.
And he was the guy that Money in the Bank where Punk won belt when he was supposedly on his last night in the company. Yeah. It was him that had won the Money in the Bank briefcase earlier in the night, and that Vince called out to try and challenge to get the belt off Punk. But yeah, I think he had plenty of programs with the top guys. I just don't think he was ever quite the top guy.
Okay. Well, he's definitely comes across like a superstar here. The Temple's loving him. It's all very positive. He talks, like you say, I think he talks about heritage, Lucha Libre, and how important it is to him. And he talks about family quite a lot. And I double check it wasn't Fast and the Furious I was watching. But Oh yeah, you're right. I've got that here about the colour of your skin, and they stab you in the back and all that sort of stuff. Just as he's mega over, and he does speak for he speaks for a good while, and just as he's finishing up his speech, we get a guy who appears to be dressed as Terry Funk from 1989. We're told it's El Texano, and he runs down the steps and batters El Patron. These two are apparently bitter rivals. It's who Alberto won the title from just recently in AAA. He's got a bull rope. He's whipping away on Alberto, and he's screaming at him that the belt belongs to him.
Yeah.
Interesting to be like. I know that Lucha Underground's basically like a sort of shoot-off of AAA, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting for their champion to be just popped into it, and it's like we've been given their two top stars sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the way it's put across. It's the champion and kind of the top contender that have turned up. Yeah.
What was your likes and dislikes from this one?
I am continuing to enjoy where they're going with Pentagon.
Nice.
I think, I thought Alberto did well with his, appearance, the way he carries himself. He does do that. He is like a superstar. I think the sort of intrigue about, who's this guy that's just jumped him, when we kind of know who Alberto is, but who's this other guy? And that was probably the main things in the episode for me. I preferred the first episode, but I think the first episode of this week was maybe my favourite that we've seen so far.
Nice.
So I didn't think this was bad. Built up a bit of intrigue.
Excellent. Cool. Yeah. Do you want to take us into episode 15, An Eye for an Eye?
Let's go. Yeah, episode 15, An Eye for an Eye. So we get a Big Ryck video package. He's coming for revenge on the crew. We get little packages about some of the storylines that are on the go. There's the Mil, Phoenix and Katarina story. There's Mil with poor Chavo, all that. So we're going to kick off with Mil Muertes against Chavo. Mil, he walks out without Katarina. It just looks a bit wrong and a bit sad.
No cape either.
No, he's lost his mojo a bit, I think. We get Mil catching Chavo on the outside, putting his back into the ring post. He's kind of just manhandling him and chucking him about a bit in these early stages. Chavo then, though, he takes advantage of Mil coming back into the ring, manages to go after the leg a bit to Mil. He's just looking a wee bit lost. It's like the situation with Katarina. He's just not right. He's not the usual Mil. And then we get a massive right hand and a clothesline by Mil, and Chavo's down on the mat. But Katarina comes down. She's distracting Mil with the stone or stones. Chavo just nips out and gets a chair. He hits Mil with it, but Mil no sells this chair shot. Hits the flatliner on Chavo onto the chair. Things get a wee bit awkward here. Mil is then instructing Katarina to come in and lick Chavo.
Yes.
Strange words. She's backing away. Mil's grabbing her by the hair, trying to force her to do it. It's slightly uncomfortable.
Quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. Mil then, he's getting frustrated. He is looking like he is about to deliver a flatliner on Katarina on the chair. Now, Phoenix comes out and makes the save. I mean, it's the right thing to do, Phoenix, but I'm not sure about what goes next, because they're then up on the ramp just staring at Mil as they just kiss very, very passionately.
Yeah. It reminded me of that horrendous angle that they did with Bobby Lashley and Lana and Miro, where it seemed like Vince was just really into making Lana like go with other people, whilst Miro, not Miro, was it? What was his name? Rusev.
Rusev, that was his name, yeah.
Had
Well,
to watch. Yeah, that was a bit like that.
Kind of weird. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of there's a sort of feeling from watching this, like maybe Katarina has got what she wanted for at least the first stage of whatever she's attempting to do here, because Phoenix he's been drawn in, he's saved her, and now he's seemingly with her, and poor Mill.
I think I would think that this was all a trap or a plan to like, I don't know, steal the soul of Phoenix or something weird. Yeah. But we've seen Mil Muertes lift her up by the throat and him like push her into Chavo. So I'm not convinced that is what's happening.
What was her name? You said her name earlier. The mystery woman.
Black Lotus.
Black Lotus. She's seemingly just walking through areas of the dungeon. She's unlocking doors. She's having
crafty.
Having a right good look around. She's going up and down stairs. I mean, I imagine whatever door she finds that she really wants to open, the key might be around Dario's neck here. But yeah, she's having a really good look around. We've got Dario talking to the crew, talking to them about taking out Johnny and Puma and how much he appreciated those bits of work. But his favourite was what they did to Big Ryck.
He says it's one I'll tell my grandchildren about.
Dario wants to reward the crew with a main event match, which is going to be the crew up against Sexy Star, Sagrada, and Pimpinela. And it seems that the sort of common theme going for here is he would quite like rid of that trio. He's embarrassed by them, doesn't want them on his in his temple anymore. So yeah, that's the crew's next assignment.
He says he refers to them as these three freaks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I really like that the crew have all got matching basketball jumpers on.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I'm quite impressed with the way they've developed, because, to go from just seemingly lackeys or Big Ryck's lackeys to being sort of characters on their own right now here. Okay. Right, so the intention here seems to be Son of Havoc was going to be having a match against Angelico. But we're not getting that, because Ivelisse has had enough. So she talks about how it was meant to be that rematch, but since he loses week after week, Ivelisse is going to fight his battles for him. She has just ripped his balls off. It's hard to see Son of Havoc recovering from that. So we're going to get Ivelisse against Angelico. Angelico, he doesn't really want to fight her. He's feeling like he's in a bit of an awkward situation. He keeps kind of laughing it off and things like that. But he at a point like just sort of ties her arms up and she knees him in the balls. She catches him with a kick, and it is maybe like, okay, Angelico's maybe going to have to get a bit serious now in this match, because she's bringing the fight to him. Ivelisse still getting all these moments of momentum, send him flying with a head scissors and things like that. Havoc he's not sure about what he's watching here. He's up on the apron pleading for all of this to stop. Havoc strikes Angelico with a kick. Ivelisse rolls up Angelico and gets the win. Now, Havoc wants a little bit of acknowledgement for the part he has played in Ivelisse getting the win, but she's not having any of that. She's ignoring him.
I think she's unaware. I think she thinks she's done it herself.
Oh, okay. So Angelico says to her that if she ever wants to go one-on-one with him without her boyfriend around, it would be his pleasure. It's a little bit brazen.
It's indeed, but I mean, our boyfriend's not exactly showing that he's going to stand up for her, so why no?
Yeah,
and shoot your shot, Angelico.
Oh.
I mean, it's an odd time to have done it. He's like just thrown her about the ring, but you know.
So next match we're going to have up is it? How do you pronounce it? Is it Texano?
Texano, I think.
Texano, because it's just spelled, I think, Texano, isn't it? But yeah, Texano against Superfly. So this is obviously the gentleman that jumped Alberto last week. We see a little bit of an interview he did with Vampiro, where he certainly did not enjoy being referred to as an ex-champion. He was absolutely furious about that. He says that Alberto stole the title, and I couldn't tell if he was asking for a bull rope match or if he was just referencing his bull rope.
Right.
And Vampiro's then talking about having wrestled somebody's dad, but I lost a little bit of the trail about whose dad he was actually referring to.
I think he was talking about is there maybe not an original Texano? I think he's maybe because this guy's Texano Jr.
Okay.
So I think he's talking about wrestling his dad when he was in Mexico.
So yeah. So we're going to go into the match here. Texano and Superfly. Got something written in my notes that I'm not sure can quite be right, but it says pull back can opener leg drop.
Yes.
I assume one of the it would have been Striker said that in the match. It's basically a squash match here. Texano's gonna get the win. He totally dominated. I think he wins after a neck breaker. We've got Alberto walking down now. Texano's gonna run, but they fight outside the ring. Alberto's giving him a little bit of a beating. We're going to see the bull rope. Alberto's whipping him, and we get a sort of classic security pull apart, but I think it's maybe the first time we've had it in this environment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought this one was done okay. We've talked about really good ones in the past, like remember the Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle pull apart.
That's like the blueprint, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some over the years have not been good, but I thought this one played off okay.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen enough of this Texano. At least we're familiar with Alberto. With this guy, I think we need to see more. Do you think they're going down the road of a bull rope type thing, or is that a bit traditional?
Like that to me. Yeah, I didn't know if it was just a bit of a gimmick that Texano went with.
Yeah. What would you think of a man in chaps, leather chaps?
I mean, it's not a look I could pull off.
I'm not asking you to. I think the only man in. Oh no, I suppose Diesel must have wore. Did he have a full bottom? Was he always just like so. Leather trousers? So just HBK and Texano.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. We're moving on to a bit of interaction with Cage and Dario. Cage seems to want Dario to just declare him as champion, which I'm not sure about that one. I mean, I've been impressed with a lot of his work, but it can't work like that. Dario says that Cage has everything he wants in a champion, and he says if he can beat Prince Puma in a non-title match next week, he'll then get his title match. Cage says he wants a real belt this time when he wins it. Obviously,
not this Aztec piece of crap.
That he has ripped in half. Chavo pops his head in.
Hello.
Says to Dario that Mexico got what they wanted and he quits and is going home. Dario tells him the doors to his temple will always be open and says the gods will not be pleased about this.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the belt when he's saying that.
Okay.
He says to Chavo, I wish you the best in your future endeavours.
Yeah.
Chavo goes, what? That's class.
We're back to. I didn't write her name down when you said it last time.
Black Lotus.
I'm gonna write it in my notes here just so I can refer back to
That's a cool name.
it. It is. So, Black Lotus has seemingly found who she is looking for, and says she wants to. I don't know if I've got the word right here, but wants to kill it with her bare hands.
Right.
I think she says kill it.
Yeah. When I was a little girl, the only thing I wanted to be when I grew up was to be the woman who killed it with my...
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we still are not seeing what the other side of this is.
What did we say his name was? Matanza?
I think Matanza.
I think he's quite heavily asthmatic, based on the noises he's making.
Oh, maybe that's where all the confusion stems from. I go with an inhaler and all is forgiven. Making it out with creepy noises his whole life. And I think, is that us straight into the main event now?
No, she says all that to him, and then somebody pops a sack around her head.
Oh yes,
and kidnaps her.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Oh, what is going to become of Black Lotus? I wouldn't say this main event struck me as the biggest of main events that we've seen so far. But we're going into the crew against Pimpinella, Sagrada, and Sexy Star.
I honestly thought you were referring to Sexy Star, Pimpinella, Mascarito as the crew, the Exotico crew.
No,
just the crew.
So right from early on, the crew are just, we keep saying this in this pod, just beating the shit out of them. They're just absolutely beating the shit out of them. There's plenty of weapons getting used. It's got very much a feel of a gang beating that's going on here.
Yeah, it absolutely has. Yeah, poor Pimpinella gets quite a lot of the brunt of it.
Quite early on, Pimpinella, he ends up having to get taken away to get medical help. And then they turn their attention onto wee Mascarita Sagrada, and they face plant him onto a chair again. Yeah. They're just absolutely destroying him. He gets helped away for medical assistance, so we're now down to Sexy Star against the crew. She's putting up a bit of a fight. There's a tornado DDT, apron to the floor at a point, but the numbers game's starting to catch up with her. And then we have got Big Ryck, eye patch and all.
Mason.
He is looking intimidating as ever, probably more so. The crew are distracted. Sexy Star takes advantage of the distraction and gets a roll-up win.
She must have one of the best records in the temple, and every win is cheap.
Yeah.
How can she possibly say that she's out there representing women? She is a cheat.
The crew scamper after this. They want absolutely no part of Big Ryck.
And then Sexy Star and Big Ryck make out in the ring as the credits go off air.
Man, I missed that bit. I must have skipped straight on to the next episode.
No, just kidding.
The next episode 16. How many are in the season, did you say?
31.
Okay. Well,
we're over halfway, yeah. Caged animals.
Caged animals. We get a recap again of some stories that are going on. Johnny Mundo and King Cuerno, Puma and Cage. We've got a little bit about the Black Lotus as well. We're going to get Johnny Mundo against King Cuerno tonight.
Yeah.
And did they say... Oh, yes, Prince Puma against Cage. So, obviously, stipulation from last week. If Cage can get the win, he will then get his title shot.
I'm never a fan of that stipulation of you need to beat the champion to then... Aye.
Yeah. It feels like you should have to beat everyone else to earn your title shot. Yep. But, yeah. We are going to get a rematch from last week, Aerostar and Drago. that last week or the week before. One of them.
Before you go into this, is the footage of the car going along? Is that before the match? Is that right at the start, or
was that here? Was that?
I've got it in my
well
notes here. Right, sorry.
It gave me slight From Dusk Till Dawn vibes.
Yes, there's something like very Tarantino about it.
Yeah, there was. Because I think it's the beginning of From Dusk Till Dawn where you see the car and then they show you the inside of it in the same shot, and you see the woman that's inside. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. Aerostar against Drago. I've got in my notes, Drago's going to have been here for 6 months and had 2 opponents. Aerostar's a bit crazy, though.
Yeah.
There's some nice moves, like missile drop kicks off the top and things like that. He's definitely got an appropriate name, I would say.
He reminds me of, and this is probably a really poor and generic comparison, but it reminds me of like Sin Cara a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Aerostar.
We've got like Suicide Dive by Drago. We've got an arm drag off the top by Drago. I don't know what I mean in my notes, okay? But I've got Drago flies over the top rope onto Aerostar on the floor, but it's not like a suicide dive. What do you mean?
He does like a sunset flip.
Okay.
Patton power bombs him off the apron. Could it be that?
Yes, I think that was it. Yeah, because it was quite cool.
Which is impressive to be able to get up and over and down in such a tight angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it must be that.
We've got a few other, impressive looking moves. I get a big frog splash by Aerostar off the top for the win, which is going to put us at 1 each between those two.
Yep.
And
Dario's looking at his window, see he's got money in his eyes.
Yeah. Because obviously there's been a bit of sign of respect the last time and this time. They help each other up, raise the arm. Dario out of his office. He congratulates Aerostar, but he wants more. He says they'll spend more time together and it's nice that they love each other. He says that they will continue facing each other until someone goes 2 wins ahead. And did they put a match limit on how many we were going to have?
So I've got here. He's made it a best of 5.
Okay,
but he did say it weird. But I assumed that's what he's saying.
Okay. The winner of this series of matches will get one of Dario's famous unique opportunities. Interesting.
Who last got a unique opportunity? Johnny Mundo?
Was it not? It was all leading towards the title match, wasn't it? Because they had the multi-person matches. And if you won, you got you got to enter last. And then it was for the title.
So Mil Muertes ended up coming in last, that's right.
Yeah.
That was his unique.
And everything's fallen apart for him since then, so yeah.
Beware.
Yeah. We are going to get the Prince Puma against Cage match.
Yes.
It's telling just the same kind of story that we saw the last time. It's power, strength of Cage. It is Puma's agility, speed. They mention an awful lot really early on that Conan isn't there. He's not out there. Conan obviously took a bit of a beating in the aftermath of the disqualification the last time these two met. Vampiro doing a lot of chat how he doesn't think Prince Puma, much as he rates him, is ready to be in this position without Conan by his side. Does some good bumping, Prince Puma. I think I would have figured out it was Ricochet by now.
I think he would have as well. I sometimes think, I don't know if I've got another one of his matches in me. Sometimes. And then the match starts and I'm just quite taken aback by some of the stuff he does. It doesn't get old, I don't think.
Yeah,
And I think that I expect it to, but it doesn't.
yeah. I was probably more into the Johnny Mundo and Cage match, but this was good, and I think all Prince Puma's matches have been good.
Aye. He does. We've seen Ricochet do this before. I remember we watched like a 6-man ladder match in NXT where he goes off runs up, jumps onto the top rope and does like a shooting star out to the outside. He does that here. Absolutely amazing.
So it felt like for a period of time in this match, every time Prince Puma just starts making a little comeback and getting some momentum, Cage absolutely flattens him with a big move. But he won't quit. He's got some agility by Cage. We sort of mentioned it in the Johnny Mundo match as well. He can move, he can leap, he can jump around a bit. Kind of don't want him maybe doing it too much.
Yeah.
You want him to stay the big physical machine that he is.
It's kind of like if Brock had been pulling out the shooting star presses early on in his career. You want it to be one-off. Sort of thing.
He'll never try that the once, I think. So we've got huge moves by Cage. Gut wrench, power bomb. Puma counters and almost gets a pin. Got a springboard shooting star by Puma to Cage on the outside. Puma catching one of the biggest clotheslines I've ever seen, but he just won't quit. Cage with that knee submission move again. Yeah, nasty. And I think this is where Conan does appear. We get I think is it more a buckle bomb than a power bomb? I think it's a buckle bomb by Cage.
Yeah.
And then, did they call someone Weapon X?
Yeah, I think it was that. Was it that thing that he did to win against Johnny Mundo? I think it was Weapon X. I've got, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, so Puma has been refusing to quit all the way through this. He's taken a lot of abuse. He's taken a lot of big moves. And then Conan throws in the towel. So Conan,
curious behaviour.
He literally throws in the towel, which quits for his guy, Puma. That's going to give Cage a title match. Vampiro is incredibly suspicious of this behaviour by Conan. And I'm not going to lie, so am I.
I suppose when you think about logically, he's fought this guy twice now. The first time was really close. This for the title. The second time is non-title, so they've not got as much to lose.
True.
He's just hit his finishing move on him. He's mounted him and he's just pounding him. Let's stop it here and come back and get a game plan together for your title match.
Maybe we just stopped it before he hit his finishing move.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where we are. So we know this title match is now going to be in the works. And potentially some sketchy behaviour by Conan. We'll see.
We've never seen, I was going to say, we've never seen Conan and Cage interact, but Cage is battered Conan, didn't he? So we can't see that being a thing, can we? Them two being in cahoots. You wouldn't be surprised if Conan's trying to jump from Puma to try and get to who might be the next champion, though.
Yeah, and we actually did say Cage shouldn't speak, or maybe should have somebody speaking on his behalf.
It looks like he would benefit from someone.
Yeah. We go straight to a segment with Conan and Puma. Conan's telling him he did him a favour, talks about the art of deception and let's execute our plan, like you were touching on before. Sexy Star, she is sick of men trying to save her in her matches, and Dario puts her in a match with Big Ryck. And he's like, well, the crew won't get involved. They won't help either one of you. So you're fine. You're golden. It's like, all right, cheers, Dario.
Yes.
Okay. We have was his name Massaro? He's the most jobber-looking guy that I've seen so far.
He's so like some of the guys that we saw on Raw in 93, 94.
Yeah. I don't have extensive notes on this. What I have written is my first note on the match is I think Pentagon just killed a guy. He wins the match, then brings in a table, power bombs Masaru through the table, and then he breaks his arm.
Yeah, crazy. The only thing to add to that is that he tells Melissa Santos before the match that the match is dedicated to his master, so she says it on the mic.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for coming along, Masaru.
Aye.
Probably won't be seeing you for
Hot
a
dog
while.
and a handshake for Vinny Masaru.
Yeah, and the announcers are talking up the sacrifices to his master angle on the go here.
Do you notice, well, I suppose we hadn't talked about, do you notice anything from either of the commentators that would suggest anything? They wouldn't give anything away anyway, would they?
Not that I've picked up on.
No.
I think I do think Vampiro's maybe been quite pleased with what he's been seeing, because I've got something in my mind. See, when he had the match where he kept lifting the guy off the mat rather than take the 3 count, and Striker, I think, was a little bit like, just take the win. You know, you've got the win, take the win. And Vampiro, I think, was a little bit like, it's not about that anymore type thing.
That's in character, though.
With
Vampires. Yeah.
He likes things like that. He likes people being seen to make their mark. So we are heading for our main event now. We have King Cuerno against Johnny Mundo.
Yeah.
So we've obviously seen this build in previous episodes. We've seen King Cuerno attacking Johnny Mundo. I like this for King Cuerno. I think we felt like he looked pretty good in his previous matches, and it feels like he's shunted up towards the top of the card here.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't
it? As the match starts, Johnny... some of my notes. Johnny with an unusual looking flip over the ropes onto Cuerno. Cuerno is very quickly going after the leg of Johnny. Obviously, we told the story previously. He's went after it with a chair. He's wrapped it around the ring post, all that.
Yeah. He's very methodical. He comes across as methodical, doesn't he? I like that about him.
They're kind of selling the announcers that maybe Johnny isn't, in shape where he should be in a match right now. I've put in my notes, just get the surgery, Johnny. Who do you think you are? Marvin Andrews.
Amazing.
It's a very niche comment there. We get a spear by Johnny for a 2. A big knee off the top by Johnny. I really felt like they were making King Cuerno look really competitive with what is one of their top stars, which I like. We've got a suicide dive by Cuerno. The look and the feeling is he's leaving it all out there. This is kind of his biggest match so far for King Cuerno. And we get a double count out. Is it a double count?
Yeah.
And the two of them run at each other and clothesline each other. And we've got them still continuing to fight. Johnny sending King Cuerno into a cameraman, leaps through the ring. Oh, he does that like leap through the side of the ring where he jumps through the ropes, which always looks really cool. They're basically brawling using the whole arena.
Yeah. They're
brawling to the top of the steps. We've got Johnny slamming King Cuerno through like a mesh fence. And that is bringing the end of the in-ring action. But according to my notes, it's here where we see the boot of that car going.
Yeah, so we got both. We got one at the start and then we get one at the end. But just before this is a good match, wasn't it? It's obviously leaving us wanting more, and we're obviously going to get more. I feel like they're making a big thing of, or trying to make King Cuerno's dive through the ropes like a thing that he's an expert. They were calling it the arrow of death.
All right.
And he keeps doing it. I think he does it 1, 2, 3 times maybe. Yeah, you're right. What you're saying, it's like a big step up. It looks good for him.
Yeah, definitely going places with him, having him in the ring with Johnny Mundo and not even taking a defeat. So yeah. He's no son of Havoc, is King Cuerno.
Indeed.
So yeah, that brings us to the end of. Wow. So that was episode 16, was it?
What about your post-credits scene?
My post-credit. Oh no. Have I missed something this time?
So we get the car trunk scene again. More scenes of it cruising along, but this time the trunk is popped.
Yes.
And she looks up, and a voice says, "What do you know about Lucha Libre? Come with me." Which I think is what happened at the very first, the titles of the very first episode.
Okay.
What do you know about Lucha Libre?
Yes. Now, I've not helped myself in my notes here because I've written, oh, it's that woman in the boot of the car. Who the fuck is this guy?
So you did get it. You did.
Yeah.
You said the same thing as well. So.
Yeah. So yeah.
Do you think that happened in the first episode? It was kind of like the titles.
Yeah, I
Let me tell you about the temple and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think now that you've said it, I think that's. I do think that's right.
Wonder who that was.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of wondering: is Dario behind all this? Is he thinking this woman's obviously found who she was looking for? I've got to get her out of here, and then
But it seems like this person is doing it for good purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Potentially.
Who knows? I'm sure more will become clear in the next lot of episodes.
Oh. Just looking at the names of the next episodes. I'm not reading anything about them. I'm just looking. I'll give you the names of the next episode. A war started in Mexico.
Chavo.
Episode 18 is called No Escape. I wonder if we're getting our first steel cage match.
Oh, okay.
Or something. Nothing's traditional, is it?
Yeah, it's always got its own little wrinkle on it.
Episode 19 is called Grave Consequences.
God, tell me it's not a buried alive match.
That's what I thought too. And episode 20 is called The Art of War.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but there's an episode called... Shit, where'd it go? Mask versus Mask.
Okay. Interesting.
Who would you like to see unmasked? Mil Muertes.
Nah. I feel like he's lost all his dignity, so let's unmask Havoc.
Yes. Aye, that's a good one, actually. Aye. And he would lose it. He would lose.
Yeah.
Great to see. Nah. Okay. Yeah, excellent. You seemed like you enjoyed them as well.
I did, yeah. I think the first one was my favourite that we've seen so far, and I thought the others were good. I think the first one was felt like the best all-round episode to me so far.
Nice. As I've been quite tempted to try and watch them and not make notes, and then there's definitely not enough time to watch them, no make notes, then watch them again. So watch them twice, that would be overkill. But I started that last one, Johnny Mundo versus Machine, just no making any notes, and then try to do them after. And I don't know if that's why I enjoyed it so much more.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I did. Like, I've been tempted to do that with some things in the past, but yet, like, I suppose this falls into that category. It's like usually things I've never seen before would I have that temptation. If we're, as we have in the past, covered shows that we have seen, it feels a little bit easier because you know what you're looking for and waiting for. But yeah, this is all new.
Aye. Oh, it's good. Honestly, I think 45 minutes is like the sweet spot for wrestling television.
Nice.
Really is. Before we close out, let's talk Cena very briefly, shall we?
Yeah.
You've obviously watched Elimination Chamber. What's your thoughts?
I really enjoyed that. I didn't see it coming. Like, right up until the moment it happened, I didn't see it coming, which was good. I was speaking at work where I don't have many wrestling friends at work, but I was speaking to one of them, and I was saying that the notion to me that this biggest merchandise seller ever, guy who was probably on top for the longest period of time out of any one bar, maybe Hulk Hogan. The idea that on his retirement tour they were going to, for the first time ever, turn him heel, I did not see it coming.
No.
And they've done it with little wrinkles. There was the seeming like he was right on the brink of losing his mind because he felt like he had to accomplish this thing before he finished. And what could that drive a person to? I felt like they did it really well.
Aye.
And when I saw, the way it was actually executed with, the embrace between, first of all, the go fuck yourself caught me off guard a little bit. 'Cause just the way it was delivered and the fact that the word was there, it caught me a little bit off guard. And Cena's like hamming it up to the crowd. And in any other situation with anyone else, I might have thought, that's overkill.
He's been
But it's
doing
John Cena.
that. Aye.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think I've been going to say to you that, has he always done that when we were, I think when we were watching, I don't know what it was. Maybe when we watched the Netflix premiere or something like that, or the Rumble even. I remember I was going to say, has he always done this?
Yeah, it maybe was a wee bit more, but because it's him and because everyone knows he's getting near the end, I thought, he's just absolutely loving life. And then when The Rock did his gesture and the moment came, I was just a wee bit taken aback because when it came to the embrace, I thought, if anything, Cody's going to turn. And I thought, should they do? I remember all these things were going through my head. Like, should they do that? That's a bit risky. And then, it got me. It got me off guard. But I'm happy they did it because I think it gives an interesting story. And I think Cena, just as John Cena, as we've always known him, going up against Cody for the belt at Mania, I don't know if that would have grabbed me. But there's something about this that's grabbed me, to be fair.
Aye. You can tell that he's an actor now, Cena, because the change in him. I mean, his skin practically changes colour. From going from this jovial face to this sinister looking man that he became. It just immediately gives you a bit of an interest in WrestleMania, like you say.
Yeah,
I think they're really lucky, the position that they're in. Let's think of somebody that might have been champion a few years ago, or I don't know. I just don't think you've had anybody that Cena could turn heel against that would be significant enough that you would think that it's 1v1 and they're on the same level. Like, Cody's very much Cena prototype.
He's like traditional babyface. He's not a cool heel, which you've seen a lot, and it wouldn't work against a cool heel. It wouldn't work at all. You're right. It's the perfect moment, the perfect opponent, and I'm really curious to see though what reactions Cena gets in arenas between now and WrestleMania, because regardless of the storyline, this is the last time that, say, people in their city are going to see him. And will they boo him? I was thinking, does he need to, what does he need to do next just to sort of cement I don't know if it's even heel, it's the I will do whatever I have to do. It's that side.
It's going to be interesting. I agree with you. It's going to be interesting. I really hope it's not you people turned against me, and it can't be that. I think it needs to be this desperation. I just really need to do whatever it takes, and I've not got it in me anymore. I got beat by Solo Sikoa, and I've been beat by whoever, and he laid the path for that on that Netflix opener, which is what makes it good, and it's there's value in watching it because you're seeing that linked story, aren't you? But that's an interesting point. I think he will. I think he'll have to do a bit more nefarious stuff. He must have been desperate to break this out, though.
I mean, I've 20 years as a babyface, and I get it. as far as the company were concerned, he was always the top merchandise seller from when he got on top. I get that there is more to it as a business than just, telling a bit of a different story. There's got to be more there. And I just assumed it would never happen. And he must enjoy it. That everyone that you ever hear speak about it says it's more fun being a heel.
Mm-hmm. I suppose there's a couple of options, obviously, but you could imagine him going out on his back as a heel and putting somebody over, and you can imagine that that's what he wants to do. But you could also imagine him. There's quite a long time between now and December. He could win the title and have a bit of a redemption arc and turn back.
Yeah, you could do a kind of a disappointed in himself about what he did, and then I have to prove I could do this on my own type thing and stuff like that.
Sacrifice himself for Cody.
Yeah.
There's
plenty of options out there. I'd wondered. I think there was indications by Triple H that this, like what you're seeing right now, had been in the works for a very long time. And when you see the Netflix debut and think back, you can see it. It's there. And I think what happened with The Rock turning up on the TV a week or so before, I think it threw everyone off. I don't think anyone knew what the hell was going on off the back of that, but probably makes a bit more sense now.
It does. This character's... I quite like this character, but then he also, he obviously did the Netflix stuff, and that was weird, but he says that's part of the final boss character, that he's a sort of corporate man where he's thanking the thing, but he's also... He can thank the fans because that's the corporate side of him, but he can also, he was on, was it on SmackDown? One of them, I saw a clip and he was talking about them having syphilis and that.
Yeah.
But he was also saying thank you for making Moana 2, like a box office hit and all that.
Yeah. It's it
feels like he just does whatever he wants.
It feels like that, and there must be. Obviously, there's a plan in the background, but I assume he just kind of does his own thing at times. But yeah, what was interesting was in the days after that, it'll depend on my mood and what I've got going on, and if I'm wanting to be easily distracted when I'm working, I'll quite often listen to some wrestling podcasts, and off the back of what happened in the Rock promo initially, there's an awful lot of the guests or hosts on a podcast being like, what are they doing? That can't have been the way they meant it to go and stuff like that. But there was like a bit of pushback by Conrad on a couple of them being like, yeah, but a year ago I would have 100% agreed with you, but let's just wait and see what's next, because I do feel like they have grander plans now than they used to back in the day. It's not just doing something on a whim. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I find it difficult to sit through a full pay-per-view. I did watch the Women's Chamber, and I actually thought it was relatively
I thought it was all right,
good.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Owens, Sami Zayn. Did you?
I watched the whole show.
Did you? I tell you what, I mean, to not be, for somebody to talk about that, to sit through Nia Jax and Johnny Gargano's wife, I don't know her name is.
That was the only match I had like a bit of an issue with, because I just, other than obviously they wanted, I think, Tiffany to get the rub of the alliance with Trish.
I don't know why it's funny hearing you talk about Tiffany Stratton. I don't know.
I obviously wanted to give her that association with Trish in Canada. But beyond that, I just couldn't think of any reason that match was happening.
No.
Where did it take you? What did it do? It just didn't.
Because she's facing Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Yeah. Odd. What was Sami? I take it Sami Zayn and Owens was just a bit too far.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. If you think back to some of them, it wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't, a bloodbath.
Right.
Well, apparently they were told no blood. And it was because they wanted Cody to.
Cody,
they wanted to save it and have more impact. But I think like the way it played out, I was thinking, is this it? Is this because obviously these guys, Owens and Zayn, they've had an association with each other for years. They've had matches with each other many times.
Mhm.
But I was watching, thinking, well, is this the end now? Because I felt watching it ready to move on. I'm like, I don't need to be seeing this anymore. And it did feel like it maybe was, because I imagine from the ending that Sami Zayn maybe goes away for a little while.
Oh, right, okay.
And Orton came out and confronted Owens. I think Owens, he was about to, after the match, I think he was about to pile drive Sami Zayn or something like that, and Orton came out and tried to stop him, and then they had a bunch of security stop Orton from doing the old head punt thing that he used to do.
Nice.
So he was lining that up, and a bunch of people ran in to stop him. So I assume they're moving on into that direction.
Almost feels like they've got too many top guys.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, we've touched on it before. Obviously, they've got Raw, SmackDown, and they've got is it around monthly. They have a premium event pay-per-view, and they've got NXT. It feels like, I suppose somebody goes out injured and you look at it and you think, oh, it's a bit light, isn't it? And then if miraculously everyone seems to be healthy, it's a few months ago you didn't have Punk in ring, you didn't have Rollins, you didn't have Orton, and then all of a sudden everyone seems to be healthy and working, and you're like, it does feel like too many guys, but at the same time, probably not anyone they would be that keen to release. I wouldn't have thought.
Oh, you've got Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns not worked since the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think when you're that size of organisation as well, though, you wonder if you could maybe more often give guys a chunk of time off, even if they're okay. Just say, just stay home for a couple of months, because we don't want to overexpose you, and we don't really have a big storyline for you at the moment.
That does seem to be what they seem to have been trying to do, I think, which is smart.
Yeah, and you would think that would keep guys a bit healthier as well, rather than have them work so many times in such a short period.
They're doing a lot less house shows and all that as well.
Yeah, I'd heard about that. Yeah, they've cut them down quite a bit, because I assume they don't make huge amounts of money off them, so they decided to cut them down.
Imagine some of the older talent finding stuff like that. They must be absolutely steaming at that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the guys that absolutely wrecked themselves working over 300 days in a year. Yeah. No
wonder Bret Hart's so bitter. What do you think of the men's chamber? Did you think it was quite short, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I kept I think because I was in there assuming that it was going one of two ways. I had thought they're either going to go Cena wins and Cena gets the main event, or I thought they might go. I didn't think they would go Punk. I thought they might do something like, say, a Drew McIntyre or something like that. And then when I was thinking it might be him, I thought he won't end up in the main event, though. Something will happen as time goes down the line. I quite like they did the interactions with Punk and Cena, and obviously they've got their history and all that, and obviously I think Punk has kind of called them out off the back of what happened there. But yeah, I was probably about 60% thinking Cena's going to win. I enjoyed some of the match. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought some of the interactions were telling okay stories.
It definitely is more storyline driven now, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair, I thought Logan Paul did quite a good job. Like, he served a purpose in there. Rather, I thought he might have been in there to be a bit of a spot monkey, but he wasn't. He was mostly there for them to for them all to be pissed off with him and batter him a little bit.
Yeah, and there was only really one, I think, big spot they did, wasn't it, off one of the
off the pod thing.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I suppose what it does leave, but I was hearing there's longer than usual between that event and WrestleMania, because it feels like there's still a lot of things that need to slot into place. But I think they've still got something like 8 weeks.
Oh, right.
I think it's usually only about 4 or 5 at this point.
Right. I see they're doing Rollins Punk in a cage next week.
Okay.
I feel like. Do you feel like they're like wasting Drew McIntyre, like the sort of peak of his career?
Yeah. The only reason I thought he could win is because had he won and you put him up against, say, you did put him up against Cody, I don't think there would be uproar if they then did something or to put a third person in there,
even
as
a third or a fourth.
Yeah,
I think so too.
And it is still realistic that a guy that looks like Drew McIntyre can go and beat anyone and take a title. But yeah, it feels like he had his run with Punk, and then maybe there wasn't anything quite there for it. He was supposed to be doing the, I'm pissed off with everyone who aligned with
the bloodline. Roman and aye.
But then that kind of overlapped a bit with Kevin Owens, and it was a bit messy. It seemed a bit messy. So I don't know if they maybe just need a bit of a reset for him.
I wondered if they might have tried to team them. Like all these people that have been pissed off or sort of run over by the bloodline across the years, like Rollins was doing that, and Owens, and they could have done like some sort of, I don't know. Sometimes it's difficult with the dynamic with big stars all together, but I feel like that, like unite through their hatred of what Roman Reigns has done, and it leads to some sort of humbling for Roman Reigns, because he's still never apologised for his behaviour.
I mean, I'll be. I'm never, I think I've said this plenty of times on here, I'm never going to be the guy that watches all the TVs. I usually look at something that will catch me up on the main things that have happened on the shows. But I do feel like I will be interested in watching WrestleMania when it comes, even though there's only about 3 or 4 matches that are confirmed right now. But yeah.
I don't think I could watch 2 full nights, but we'll see. If our boy Inquerno gets a match at WrestleMania, then I'll be watching for that. I actually watched SmackDown to see if he was on it. I obviously didn't watch 3 hours full of that, but I flicked through it. Now, who was he wrestling? It might have been LA Knight. He's good. Like, it's so crazy. They've got people the caliber of that are probably just on the weekly TV show quite far down. Say with Penta. Penta's on Raw. It's crazy. It's almost like you need like a Lucha Underground for people like what Johnny Mundo's like. Yeah. Like he's so talented, and he deserves to be a, not like a hardcore champion or whatever. He deserves to be like a champion of an organisation.
Aye.
Anyway, we'll go back to the temple in 2 weeks.
Nice.
I'm going to try and just. I say this every time, but I need to try and not go and watch it now because it's too far away. I was close to the message saying maybe we could fit another 4 episodes. Maybe we could do like an 8 episode. It's so good.
I am enjoying it, but I'm quite enjoying the pace at which we're doing it.
Call it canny. Okay, right. Take it easy, and we'll speak in 2 weeks.
Cheers.